In this video, we will cover some more advanced searches you can do, including wildcards, modifiers, the colloquial search box, and compare mode. So again, we'll be using COFIA. First, let's look at the options box. So each set of concordance lines you will see will be randomly selected from the total number of hits from the corpus. Let's type in freedom again. And open up options. So to see a bigger sample or a different sample, you can click here to see a bigger sample, or if you just want to reseed the sample, you can click there. And if you need more than 500 concordance lines or like to save the data, you can use the export option down here, where you can export up to 100,000 concordance lines. Okay. So the sort options will default to alphabetical order, starting from one word to the right of your query, then two words, then three. That's what this means up here. Probably not something that most people will have to worry about. So in the first video, we searched the word freedom. Sometimes you want to search for multi-word strings like freedom of the press. These are really easy. All you need to do is type freedom of the press, enter. You can type anything into the query box and the interface will return all of the hits with exactly that string from the corpus. It can also be useful to search for two different words or phrases and see how they are used when they occur together. This is where the colloquial search box comes in. For example, maybe we want to see freedom and liberty occurring together. So just type your second query, which will be liberty, and then we'll change this back just to freedom. Either would have worked fine. And now we will see within 4 words of each other, within 4 words left and right of the word freedom, that's what these options do, the word liberty co-occurring with it. So now let's turn to wildcards, which are just asterisks on our platform. So let's get rid of that. So a wildcard can either stand for an entire word or a string of letters. So if we simply type an asterisk into the query search bar, we'll show us a random sample of words, any word, in the corpus. And then if we do the same on the frequencies tab, it will show us the most common words in the corpus. So we can also use the wildcard in a multi-word string. So if I type in freedom of the asterisk on the frequencies tab, it will show us the most common 4-word strings where the last word can be any word. Another example, just to show you one more, we might do asterisk space American space asterisk. So the American Army, the American Revolution, and if we click onto any of these, it will take us to the concordance lines. If we go back and we just have that search and we go directly to concordances, it will give us a random sample of all of those. So an American, the American, African, the American states. So it's just generating a random sample there. So the key to use an asterisk as a wildcard for a whole word is to have it separated from other letters by a space. When there's no space separating it from other letters, it will show all strings of letters that could fit. This is simpler than it sounds. So if I want to see all words that end in ing, I can just do asterisk, ing. Let's go back to frequencies. So we'll get all basically verbs in the progressive present tense, at least all words ending in ing. So, or maybe I want to see all words in the corpus that begin with the letter Z. All I need to do is type the letter Z and the asterisk and hit enter. And so again, if we go to concordances, it will show us a random sample of all of these words. If we go back, it will show us the words that begin with Z, but you'll notice that it only goes to 100. So this is where the options for frequency becomes important. So if we type there, we want to see some more results. Maybe we want to go all the way to 500, and we just hit apply options. That will allow us to go all the way to 500, and we can check on zeal, and we'll see that, let's see, looks like zeal is just a misspelling in a letter to Benjamin Franklin here. Okay, so that's basically how wildcards work. Obviously, you can combine the two, so we could do something like ing space star, and we'll get results like that. Okay, so let's move on to modifiers. And after learning about wildcards, modifiers should be very easy. So let's go back to concordances, and modifiers are found right here. It's just a drop-down menu. So yeah, we'll talk about each of these. So a lemma is the base word, or another way to think of it is the word that you would find in a dictionary. So for a verb like kick, I'm not going to find kicking and kicks in the dictionary. I'll just find the word kick. So if we do kick as a lemma, and then we look at frequencies, so all those words that would fall under the same dictionary entry will or should be captured by kick as a lemma. So we can also do declare as a lemma. We could do declaration as a lemma, and that should just, yeah, so it'll capture the plural as well. And yeah, so that's how lemmas work. Synonyms are what they sound like. Case sensitive just means if you're wanting to specifically look at something uppercase or lowercase. And then of the parts of speech, the only ones that will be useful to most people are these first four. It's not really important to understand what all the rest of these are unless you're doing complicated linguistics analysis, and in that case, you would already know what they mean. So say we want to see the word harm, but only as a verb. We would type in harm, come over to the drop-down menu, select verb, hit enter. And then we'll go to the concordance lines. So it's important to note here that the part of speech tagging, as well as things like synonyms and lemmas, are all done by automatic taggers, which are about 95% accurate. So that means they're pretty good, but you can expect some errors. And There are certain things that they do really well and certain things that they really struggle with. In my experience, sometimes words that can be both nouns and verbs sometimes are hard for automatic taggers. So look out for that. So the last thing we'll talk about in this video is compare mode searches, which are very easy. So all you do is you click this little button, the Add Compare button, and as you see, this will split your screen in half, and each half of the screen will now operate independently but exactly the same as before. So this can be very useful for a number of reasons. One thing that is pretty cool is changing corpora. So let's look up the phrase domestic violence on both halves. But now over here on the right, we can change corpora. Go down to Corpus of the Supreme Court of the United States. And just like that, we can see how this term, this phrase is used at the time of the founding compared with different Supreme Court opinions. And as we'll learn later, we could also separate by decade or time period, which would add another layer of interesting comparison. So all the things that we've learned to do thus far, we can do in compare mode. We can replicate this. We could do freedom of the star. And maybe we want to see the frequencies and compare the two. And as well, it might be interesting to go back to COFIA and compare words. Maybe we want to see liberty on the left and freedom on the right, and compare how those two words were used the same or differently. There's any number of interesting things you can do with this feature. All right, so that will wrap it up for this video on more advanced searches.